So now I do sort of like fitness influencing on TikTok. I've been doing it for about 3 months. I do a lot of like bodybuilding kind of focus. Last quarter was like the rugby season, and I used to play professional rugby for the Chicago Lions. I'm trying to get several million followers on TikTok. So I've got 15K in 3 months, but I got my last 5K in about 2 weeks. Spring break about 50K, by summer about 100K. About 100K I'd move over to Instagram and YouTube, vlogging, information and motivation, while still doing TikTok as well. I'm aiming for several million followers, frankly. Like, I'm trying to be one of the biggest in the industry, whether I can or not. I back myself. I probably don't really need to take the extent of pre-workout that I take, but I do because of the pressure to look good when you're recording, you know? Like, those extra veins, that kind of like unnatural look is what draws people to your page. So to quote Arnold, getting a pump is like coming, essentially. It feels so good. You feel like that skin sort of like ripping, you know, you feel like you're basically exploding, and it feels amazing. And when you're like on energy, you're on caffeine, you're like zoning in your focus, and you're like hitting these like heavy weights and looking amazing every time you look in the mirror. It's an amazing feeling. One's masculine energy is their focus towards a certain goal in their end game, essentially their purpose. And when upon finding said purpose, they will tirelessly enact that. And every person is born with the capacity of both the masculine and the feminine, and you frankly need both to be a good holistic person. Men have a larger propensity for the masculine, women for the feminine. And you need the feminine because that's where the enjoyment and the experience comes from. That's where you sort of embrace the flow of the universe, as it were, to like quote David Dieter, for example. And so I realize you need both of them, but in the society today, you kind of see the paradigm is shifting more towards 50-50. I'm trying to make people realize, no, what you're feeling is entirely valid, and this is probably why you're feeling it. So let's make you feel better. If you look at some of the most successful men in the world, how are they successful? Because they tirelessly aim towards their end game. You look at Elon Musk, who was literally living in his office because that's where he could afford rent for when making PayPal, and look at him now. And even now, he's still tirelessly aiming towards it. And I feel like people realize this, but are not allowed to acknowledge it. What I'm going to say is somewhat controversial. I want you to acknowledge the notion of a girl boss. What is a girl boss? It is a girl who is shaking up societal norms by achieving what used to be only attainable to men through this career-driven, oriented attitude. And that is what people are now aspiring to be. And more power to them, frankly. If they want that, if they truly want that, by all means go for it. However, what that is they're exuding more masculine energy, and they feel as though their feminine energy is not being expressed enough, and because they feel like they're not allowed to be feminine, and feel that's as damaging as men feeling as though they're not allowed to be masculine. I feel like people should embrace themselves holistically. Whether you are a man who is innately more feminine, by all means, please do it. Or if you're a woman that is innately more masculine, by all means, please do it. But don't lie to yourself. Don't feel as though you need to be a certain type of way when you don't. Just be honest with yourself. That's what women factor into it. I feel like this is shifting. This is an issue with both men and women. But being a man, I can only speak for the male experience because that's really what I'm wetted in.
Can I? So I was like 115 pounds in high school. I was really skinny. Yeah, I'm short too, so I was just this little goblin running around the school. And so I joined the Army when I was 18. I leave for the Army. One big aspect of it is being physically fit, and since it's an aspect of your job, the way you are as a soldier is kind of measured by your body. You know, like there's a phrase, fat NCO, like fat non-commissioned officer, or like fat sergeant is kind of leveled just to show like a sergeant that has given up on his job, because your body is a big aspect of how you are as a soldier. Your ability to perform your duties, pick up somebody when they get shot. Also, you know, I was just exposed to a lot of people that worked out. My first roommate when I got to Texas was just big, buff black dude from New Orleans. and he told me he was going to get me buku strong. So he taught me how to work out, and there wasn't much to do because I didn't have a car or anything. So I just worked out, ate a lot because the dining facilities are there, 3 meals a day, and got big. And now bodybuilding is a hobby. I will work out. I used to work out in the mornings or during the day. Now I'll work out at night if I have the energy because, she's asleep. These sort of things are surviving is one aspect of it. But I also think about what am I building towards? The time I didn't spend with my daughter, that will be measured later on in how she perceives me, what she thinks of me. And, I also want her to think of a man as something more than, just the body of a man.
I spread the madness like it's viral. Thoughts of the isolated sniper on the rooftop shooting at the half-developed self-projections waiting past the stupor. I spread the madness like it's viral. Mask on, mask on, mask on, mask. What's the legacy of family or a babysitting? Infantile versions of each other when the truth's missing. I spread the madness like it's viral until extinguishment becomes the next gift in store. Mask on, mask on, mask on, mask. But puppet strings of fate might make me blow.
So there's like the Guidos, the Mexicans, and the blacks, bro. Like, the Guidos are just built-ass Italian dudes. Wife beaters, bro. Like, and everybody's tatted the fuck up. This is just how it is from where I'm from. Like to become a man, bro, that's what you do. Like, you go lifting, you get tattoos and shit, and chains and all of that. And then there's, like, a lot of high school athletes. Some of them who are, like way too huge for a 17-year-old. Like, it's crazy. But the culture out here is just not like that, Like, everybody's more like, I don't know, like, what's normal? I don't know what the word would be. I'm not sure how much I want to divert into, the politics of all of this, but I think that something that I kind of push against in American culture is this idea of, like, open the floodgates, we figured it out, make a new category for everything, destroy the patriarchal kind of totem, because it's like, it's so easy to fall into a thin subversion of that. That actually ends up propping it up. And it goes both ways. I mean, in some sense, I think a lot of the dynamics of sexual difference is like a charade that you have no choice but to buy into, And I think I'm very influenced by Lacan here in the idea of the over-determination of the signifier. And not to get into what that means, in simpler terms, it's like we are over-determined by language and our symbolic structures that we're embedded in. And we don't have a choice to undo those. The best we can do is slip cracks into that sort of these regimes as a way of trying to breach them open and open new possibilities. But to just get attached to, the immediate subversion of a given thing, you're not really changing anything, So I think, like, there's a process of really dwelling and coming to terms with, like, what sexuality is for you as a human being. Because there's something terrifying within that. I think this is what the Oedipus complex is supposed to show, aside from all the weirdness that is attached to it. The idea that, like, you would ever want to kill your father and fuck your mother, like, that's horrifying, And I think that's just pointing to something within sexed life that is inassimilable to what we believe ourselves to be.
I see it as a response to, again, what I was sort of speaking to. Primarily as a gay man, I was like, I don't have a lot of interests that make me masculine, but I think that there are like fewer and fewer traditionally masculine spaces where like young boys and men can negotiate their masculinity, and I think the gym is one of those places that still exists. And so I think for that reason, it's become extremely important for young men. You're gonna have to start working out so you don't get beat up. And I was like, you're probably right. But of course that was dramatic, and I was never beaten up. I was fine. But I kind of just, it was always in the back of my mind as something that I wanted to do, like that personal growth and transformation. For me, honestly, it was also like a sexual thing. It's like a fetishistic, erotic thing to see your own body transform as well as see other people's bodies transform. So that was part of it too. But it was primarily like I graduated, I had time, and I had a job, so I could pay for a gym. Because social media plays such an important role, I'm thinking Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, primarily in like reproductions of what is the ideal masculine form, of which it's like, you look at all the guys, they look the same. Everybody has their like different genetics, but it's like aesthetically, again, the features are very similar. Big chest, wide shoulders, thinner waist, thick legs, wide back. It's the body type that is aspired to. And so I think that like for those of us who participate in social media in a more intense capacity, and I mean like posting pictures of yourself and your body where, the focus of the image is your body and your physique, more importantly. I know that it's changed my relationship with my body, and in a way that's been somewhat positive. My body's been well received. People think I'm very sexy, which is awesome, but it's also completely fucked my relationship with my body. I mean, the number that's like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of pictures I've taken of my body in the past 2 years. And to have seen my body from every possible angle, at every, possible shade of lighting, it's like I know from what angles I look good, and I know from what angles, in my opinion, I don't. And to even just sit there and have, like a session where you take 500 pictures of yourself and then you favorite a few of them, but you're constantly like comparing the two. And I mean, the differences are so minute. It's like my eye is like, my eyebrow is like that, but it's like, which one do I want to post? To be so critical of your body in that way, I think really, for better or for worse, just changes your relationship with your body. And so there's that comparison, like between me, myself, and I. But that comparison is also mediated by, once I produce my body and put it out into the world, it's compared to everybody else's body out there, and it's like, I consume their bodies as much as I consume my own body, and then it's like, why don't I look like that? Or like, will I ever be able to look like that? Like, God, I wish I looked like that. So, I think I have a very different relationship with social media than I used to when I started my quote-unquote work also, because it becomes very addicting, similar to like tracking your calories, but in a different way. So most of the time I deleted all of my personal social media, so I just have my like work accounts, which has been good for me, but has also, the only thing I consume when I log into any of my accounts like is other men and their bodies. So yeah, it's changed the way I move through the world and I think about myself. It's like even just sitting here, it's like before we started, I was like, make sure I look sexy, like I want my shoulders to look good. Like I think about it so much more than I ever used to. And I don't think that's, I know it's not a coincidence, but it's like, I thought about my body before, but I would never have thought about it in this way unless I participated in producing it and mediating it this way.
My practice really encompasses a lot of mixed media. I would say I'm primarily a sculptor. It's my background. I worked with found objects throughout high school. But now my work is really enveloping the ideas of body as material, body as sacred, the irreverency of the body, and kind of the taboo that we treat our bodies with. So a lot of my work now is kind of catharsis through the destruction of the body, giving up ownership of the body through sculptural means, through self-harm, through destruction, through exhibition. In the tradition of Gina Payne, a very influential feminist artist who used the body as a war ground for feminist ideals through the acts of cutting and self-harm, I look to de-aestheticize her more flowery aspects of her work. So I took some 35mm, 13mm black and white photographies of myself, mimicking her style, and then I performed an exhibition where I stapled those works to myself and allowed an audience to view me as an object showing the destruction of my body while also destroying my body in front of a live audience. There's a piece I'm working on now that's going to be a canvas made from the detritus of the body, kind of nails, skin flakes, seminal fluid, blood, urine, hair, and I'm going to make that into a natural fiber paper, and then using some combination of body fluids, I want to have my romantic partner paint a portrait of me on that piece and then seal it away. I want to be viewed as pure form, and I think that form, that kind of destruction can occur without someone viewing me as innately human or having innate value simply because I do have a body. I think the body can be treated as something that is as disposable and as fleeting as necessary for the work. So I would try to depersonalize it in that sense, not purely from just being a human, but I don't want to be viewed as myself. I always say in kind of a pessimistic manner that if I ever complete my work as an artist, then the only act left would be to kill myself. That would be kind of the ultimate act of destruction, but I don't think I'll ever reach that point.
Growing up, I lived in a place where people didn't have the opinions that I had. It wasn't incumbent on me to like share my opinions to anyone, and I didn't want to share my opinions to anyone. It wasn't welcome. So I just like never got in the habit of doing it, which is now why I think some people think I like probably have bad opinions, or it's because I don't always say them openly. It's like a kind of closeted thing.
I think senior year of high school, I kind of like understood, you know, like my acne cleared up, like I grew a little bit. It's like started working out like really seriously. Not seriously, I just worked out consistently, you know. When I was young, like I was a pretty baby. I've been a pretty boy. I have been a pretty boy, and I've like come to I know that, you know. Like in a dance studio when you're young, like in your with like a bunch of girls around you, like they don't necessarily see you as like a sexual object per se, but like everyone tells you you're pretty.
How do you receive that compliment?
I like it. I mean, I'm very attached to being pretty, to be honest. Like I like being an object. I know that I am to people, and I really enjoy that. I also don't like really desire to like be beautiful in like terms of traditional masculinity. Like I wish that I was like a traditional man, but I'm not. So I know myself to just be independently beautiful. You know?
Everyone is opinionated here, but they don't say it out loud because they're afraid. But if you talk to someone on the street, they'll say shit that, you know, they'll say shit that you kind of go like, oh, but, you know, they're vocalizing their opinions.
Social media and pornography, for sure. Like, we never touched upon porn. That's like the whole thing. That's like the thread in this whole documentary that's like the whole social media thing, like, hints at. And I'm thankful for, like, Jake Dunn for, like, really touching upon, but, like the manosphere is, like, tied to, like, the pornosphere, like, very deeply. It's like you think about, like, how a guy spends his time in the evening. It's like he's on his phone. He's like, or he goes to the gym. He gets back. He's scrolling through Instagram. Sees some reels about somebody who's like getting jacked. Goes on an incognito window, jerks one off real quick, and goes to sleep, bro. That's like what it is. That's the lifestyle.
And that was like a level of performance that I had that I can't tell which one's like the right one. I can't tell if I'm like, when I am like straighter acting, if that's like an act to like hide me being gay, or if like I'm really gay acting, that's something I do because it's like, oh, I'm supposed to do that because I'm gay. I can't tell which one was the original one. Yeah, I definitely perform that a lot. I'm only attracted to straight guys, really. Straight guys are the people I find really attractive. That's also why I was talking about music earlier, is because I like music that straight guys like, because it's like my way in. It's like my way of relating to them. And almost all my male friends are always like straight dudes. And yeah, like all the like gay guys I sleep with for a long time, especially like early on in my being gay, were like straight dudes who were like gay. So I like dudes who dress like straight dudes, and I don't like dudes who dress like me. I would hate it if like I had a partner who dressed like me. I have a question that I've wanted to ask this whole time we've been doing this process, because I feel like it's something that we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're more masculine than me?
No.
Why
I do
not?
not believe so. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, like in terms of like how like the project, like what's been challenging for me in the project is like everyone has their own definition. Like all these dudes were like have like very hazy definitions that like are built around like a series of internet references, conversations, and like relationships or whatever. And like in our conversations, we have like independent definitions of manhood or masculinity or whatever. In some ways, like I preferred and like liked, and the interviews went like better with like the more like conventional men when I would lead, because like I know how to perform that shit. I've been that. It's like really, it's very natural for me. But that's very like that performance is independent of what like masculine character is.